Now, into the ticket office of Disneyland.
Oh boy, let's do this.
Don't think the CIA is going to be trying to hack your second-gen iPod.
I didn't think so. There might have been a lot of illegal music on there. I wouldn't doubt it. But, I mean...
You were supposed to bring death to the flagships, not join them.
Google has found a new way to piss me off.
iTunes is a constant source of embarrassment.
Behind-the-scenes camera crap.
Here, tell us about courage, Phil. Tell us about courage.
I am Nadella. I can't do it anymore without laughing. I was going to do the whole thing.
Welcome, everyone, to the Calling All Platforms podcast. I am your host, Wes, and I'm here with Landon.
Hello.
And Caleb.
Yo.
We are here to talk all things tech this week.
Woo.
Yes.
Are we ready? You ready for this?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. There's not much, but we're going to talk about it. You know what? The most enthused right now, I believe, is Caleb. So, you know what? You're going to start us off.
Woo. Yeah. Enthused.
Enthusiasm.
I'm so happy,
Yippee.
listener. It's the best. I have the best news, listener. The absolute best news. Apple. It's Apple news, too, actually. Landon didn't take this from me. Apple released a new iPhone this past week.
What?
It's Lello. So Apple has been doing this thing for the past couple of years where they'll do like a mid-cycle refresh for their phones. That's what they call it. It's not actually a refresh at all, though. It's an iPhone 14. They've added a color to the options for the iPhone 14. It's yellow. It is yellow. This is the dumbest news. I'm just gonna say,
Man, you were pretty enthusiastic, though.
I'm super enthusiastic about this color. No, like they do this because they know that if they release a new color, then they will have at least one article published in every news source that covers technology in the world. And it puts the iPhone in the middle of its cycle back into the forefront of everybody's consciousness for at least a month. And I hate that. I hate they do it. I hate that it works. And I hate even more the fact that it worked here today. Like, I'm talking to you, listener, about the iPhone because they released a yellow iPhone.
Yep.
So, yeah. But, it's a nice color. I guess if you don't hate the iPhone 14, which you should, then maybe this is for you. Okay. Now, something I actually am more enthusiastic about, and listener, I know this probably is not, like, statistically speaking, this is not something that you care about, because in order to care about this, you pretty much have to already be subscribed to Apple Music, or at least care about Apple Music and are interested in it, potentially. And also, you need to be a gigantic nerd. So, I fall into both of those categories, however. Apple Music Classical is finally launching. So this is a thing that Apple announced after they bought the classical streaming app Polyphonic 2 years ago.
Yeah.
They waited about a year and then announced that they were going to be taking that technology, their whole app experience and library management and stuff like that, and rolling it into their own app that was going to be called Apple Music Classical, and it was going to be coming in 2022. Guess what? That didn't happen.
Nope.
So here we are in 2023. And it is actually now, like, available on the App Store. It has been listed on the App Store, sort of. You have to have a direct link to get to it. You can't search for it yet. But if you do follow a direct link, it takes you to the page, and you can pre-reserve it, kind of do their quote-unquote pre-order thing. That just makes sure that it will download to your device as soon as it's released. It has a listed expected release date of the end of March. So sometime the next couple of weeks, Apple Music Classical is going to just show up on my phone. I'm really excited about this. Okay? Like, I get that I get that it's kind of stupid to be excited about something like this. But look, I like classical music, okay? And not just like in the sense of like, classical music is like super highbrow and I'm an intelligent person, so of course I like it. Like, no. Friggin' it's all of that is blown completely out of proportion, and anybody who thinks that classical music, in quotes, is more intellectual than any other genre of music is full of crap. But I like big orchestral music. I like, acoustic ensemble sound and stuff like that. And one of the things I really like about classical music is that so much of it is less like, oh, this is an orchestral piece. It's more like this is a piece of music as performed by the person directing the orchestra, right? The orchestra is an instrument, the director is performing. That's kind of how so much of this is. And one of the things that sucks about basically every streaming app, and honestly has sucked about iTunes and digital music as a whole for a very long time, is that if you're really into classical music, they just don't give you a whole lot of tools to effectively organize a classical music library.
Yeah.
Okay? Like, being able to sort my music by director is as important as being able to support it by composer. And what the heck is an artist in this circumstance? Is the artist, the director? Is the artist Chopin? Is the artist the London Symphony Orchestra? Like, is the artist the soloist who is playing the piano of the Chopin piece with the London Symphony Orchestra? Like, who is the artist? And so they just cram all their names into a single line, and it's super obnoxious and doesn't work very well. So Apple Music Classical, like Polyphonic before it, is supposed to solve all of these problems. It's supposed to give you more granular control over your classical music library. And I actually am really kind of enthused about that, Like, I'm the type of person that has a favorite recording of Dmitri Shostakovich's Symphony No. 5. Okay? That's just where we're at here. It's the Leonard Bernstein New York Philharmonic, in case anybody's wondering. So, yeah, so that's coming sometime in the next couple of weeks. I'm very excited about it. I get that you may not be, listener, but if you have an Apple Music subscription, then this app will work for you. It uses your existing Apple Music subscription. And if you at all like classical music, you're all interested, there's no reason not to download it and give it a try. So there you go. And if you're not an Apple Music subscriber, but you are willing to switch over to it, if their classical music app is really good, I'll get back to you on whether or not it's really good. So
honestly, if they just copied and pasted the code for Polyphonic, which is what they should do, then it's going to be good.
Yeah.
Just true. Maybe give it a new UI to match Apple Music, but keep all the guts from the previous apps that everyone loved, and then they'll be good. Hopefully they did that.
Yep. Hopefully. I mean, the key really is just so long as they give us really granular control of the library and all of the metadata associated with the pieces of music, I think it'll work out pretty good. So hopefully that's what they've done. Like I said, I'll get back to you. This is I've already pre-reserved it. It's going to download onto my phone sometime in the next couple of weeks, and I'm going to wake up one morning. It'll be like Christmas. So
that is awesome.
Okay. So that's my Apple news. It's, of course, hilarious that I suppose that the one piece of news everybody is talking about makes me hate Apple. And the one piece of news nobody is talking about is like one of the few reasons that I'm still one of their customers. Because of stuff like Apple Music Classical. I like that kind of thing. But yellow iPhones. Anyways, we'll move on from Apple. I would like to just mention AMD real quick. Because it's been a couple of weeks since we've talked about AMD, and I feel like, they need to be met. No. Ryzen 7000 X3D processors. Okay. We talked about them back when AMD announced them, that there was an X3D version of the 7950X, the 7900X, and the 7800X. No, 7700X. One of those two. And so, there's X3D versions, 3D V-cache versions of those processors. They have launched at this point, listener. Obviously, they didn't get nearly as much fanfare as the initial 7000 series processors. But I think that's kind of dumb, because honestly, these things are just better for most things. If you play games, they're better than their non-X3D versions by far. And the 7950 X3D is... I don't think there's really any disputing. For the vast majority of cases, it is the best gaming CPU on the market right now. So, you have all of the same issues that you always had with the Ryzen 7000 series platform, where, it's a little bit expensive because you have to buy DDR5 RAM. The motherboards just have not really come down in price since they launched. Yeah. So expensive motherboards, brand new RAM. It's not a cheap platform to get into. But if you want the fastest gaming processor on the planet right now, that is a Ryzen processor again. So it was Ryzen, then Intel took it. Now AMD's taken it back, and this is what competition looks like. We've said it before, and I'm happy about it. So this is great. Technically, they have lower clock speeds and more restrictive overclocking than the non-X3D versions of these processors, but that does not cancel out the performance gain of the increased cache size in workloads like games. So where you're trying to feed a whole bunch of data to a GPU or something like that, the increased cache just really helps out. And so these are really, really good chips. So there you go. I wanted to make sure that we got it out there that, yes, we announced, or we said that these things had been announced, but we didn't actually say, it turns out that AMD was right. And in fact, the 7950X3D does take the gaming crown back from Intel. And so, ball's back in Intel's court. Honestly, probably just based on the past few years and their track record currently, Intel's next processor is probably going to take the gaming crown back from AMD and will probably draw about 450 watts of power all by itself. So
that's a lot of power.
Pair that with high-end NVIDIA GPUs that draw up to 600 watts of power, and you have to have a 1,000 watt power supply if you want to play on these computers. Anyways, we'll see how that goes in the future. But currently,
and cooling. Don't forget cooling. You can need that 1,000 watt power supply.
I mean, okay. Side note, tangent here. This is not to do with AMD. Intel's latest, the 13900KS, just the K, I think it was. Linus Tech Tips released a video this past week where they took that thing and put an exotic cooler on it that is essentially like an industrial HVAC, like AC unit that just is designed to just pump heat away from a little cold plate. Like it's basically just a giant AC chiller for something small like a CPU. And they attached this thing to a 13900K, turned it on, were immediately able to bring this thing well below ambient, like, down to freezing kind of, temperatures, which is super cold and the kind of thing that, like, you don't want to run your chips down at that low of temperature for very long, because otherwise condensation builds up around them and then they short circuit and die. So
yeah.
So it's an effective cooling solution, and they were able to get the 13900K to throttle when cooled by this thing. Now, To be fair, it was running an all-core like boost clock of 6 gigahertz, which is insanely fast, and like the performance under this was incredible. So it was kind of like, I guess there's two takeaways here, that it's impossible to properly cool this processor. Like if you've got two 360 millimeter radiators with really nice fans on them and a fully custom water loop, this thing could still throttle on you. Absolutely. But also, if you can cool it below that, it's got a lot of headroom for performance. Like the cooler you can get it, the more performance you get. So it's like, I guess there's kind of two sides to that coin there. It's impossible to properly cool the thing, but also if you do get it colder, like the colder you can get it, the more performance you get out of it. So take that how you will, listener. I don't know what that really says about Intel, but it just kind of cracked me up.
Yeah, seriously.
So it's an interesting time to be alive and shopping PC components.
No
Says
kidding.
the guy who's considering ditching his gaming PC and buying a Steam Deck. I don't know. It's just an interesting time to be alive. We'll just put it that way.
Things are changing. Do you really think you could give up your PC?
It is so hard to say. Like, I play a lot of old games, and like I can't play those on a Steam Deck, but also I can't necessarily play all of those on my PC too, because it doesn't have a CD drive anymore.
True.
I need something with, so like honestly, just having kind of an older laptop that I could go pick up for like $50 on Facebook Marketplace or something like that, and just put like a new hard drive in it. That would honestly play the vast majority of the old games that I need, like my entire backlog of old Windows PC games. That would cover it. And then the Steam Deck would cover all of the newer stuff. And it's portable, and it's a lot cheaper than other options. I don't know. It's real tempting.
But it's not a mouse and keyboard.
It isn't a mouse and keyboard,
True.
but you can plug a mouse and keyboard into it.
That's fair.
You can dock it, and then a monitor and mouse and keyboard. So I could just have a dock and then like a laptop. And yeah, I don't know. If I ever decide what I'm doing with the future of my gaming setup, I'll be sure and let you know, listener, because honestly, I have no idea at this point. So, yeah. Anyways, that's enough tangents for me. That's my news. Some Apple news, some AMD updates. Not a ton going on this week, but at least classical musicians and music lovers are gonna get a bone thrown to them.
Classical musicians and yellow phones.
Yeah, we don't talk about that.
Sounds good. All right, well, let's move over to Landon. Landon, what you got for us?
All right. I have some Google news.
Oh,
Google has announced, well, they released this year's Google I/O puzzle, which people then solved, which told us when Google I/O will be. And it is going to be on May 10th. And only May 10th. It is a one-day event instead of a 3-day event like it usually is.
Huh.
So that's interesting. Also, they said it will be a limited live audience. But it does appear that they are inviting more people than they did previously, because there's a lot more, at least tech journalists that are getting invited to this than were last year.
Right.
So there's probably going to be more developers, more journalists there. So not a full house probably, but a lot more than were there last year, which there was, I mean, that place was probably 50% full or close to 50% full last year. So there'll be a decent amount of people there probably.
Yeah, well, that's good.
And if you want to watch the keynote, it will be at 10 a.m. Pacific time. So calculate that into your own time zone, listener, and that will tell you what time you need to watch if you want to. Again, May 10th, 10 a.m. Pacific time. So I will be keeping an eye on this because I'm always interested to see what is going to be happening. So obviously they're going to be talking about the new version of Android 14, and probably going to be talking a lot of AI, which they usually do. Probably going to be talking about their Bard ChatGPT competitor thing.
Yeah.
And a bunch of other stuff. So that should be fun. All right. The next little bit of Google news is another Easter egg that they put into Google search. This is another fun one. So, listener, you may have heard of the video game / character of Jumpman. Oh, wait, no. Oh, they changed the name from Jumpman to Mario, actually. Sorry. You might know that one. I don't know.
Right.
But Mario, it's a relatively well-known game, I think. You've probably heard of it. But this past week was March 10th, which is come to be known as Mario Day. And on that day, Google released this new Easter egg. So if you were to search for Mario or other characters inside of the Mario world, except for Toad, if you search for Toad, you have to also be Toad Mario, because if you just search Toad, it'll bring up a frog, or rather a toad. But if you search for Mario, inside of the little knowledge graph at the top, it's got a coin box or a little question mark box. And if you click on it, it pops up the little coin and does the old like the old NES sound and everything. And if you do it 100 times, you get a 1-up, like a 1 life, 1-up sound. Trust, and I did do this. It does work. I counted to 100, And on the 100th one, it gave me the 1-up sound.
I got it.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
And it works
Yep.
on desktop. It works on mobile, and it is fantastic. So
Nice.
there's
That's
another
super cool.
another little fun thing inside of Google search. I just love the Easter eggs that Google puts into search. It's fantastic.
They're pretty good. Did you see the boots too for Mario Day?
The boots?
The boots. Yeah. I wasn't going to mention this, but I mean, we're talking about Mario Day already. Nintendo released, I'm not sure if they're actually going to sell them, but the official Mario boots, like actual pants, leather.
Oh, I
boots
did
that
see
look
these.
like
That is,
Mario's
oh my
boots
gosh, yeah. I
in the
did
game.
see
They're
that.
hilarious looking. They're just these funny little short, stubby.
Yeah,
Honestly, they look like baby shoes.
it's true.
Funny.
That's what they should have done. Just made some baby shoes that are Mario boots. That would have been great. But yeah, I love Google and their Easter eggs, and I love Mario, so it's a win on both sides.
Yeah.
And that is all the tech news that I have for this week. It's not a very busy time.
That's pretty good.
It's kind of slow this time of year.
Yeah, it happens.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. Well, alrighty. Well, I'll go ahead and I'll take over. So, Microsoft, they're busy trying to buy companies.
Yeah, that's
doing their
still
best.
happening.
Talking to lots of regulators and things, so they're a little preoccupied with a lot of things. But I'm going to go ahead and dive into some gaming news that's not the acquisition. Big thing that we've probably seen, listener, is we're going to talk about some Bethesda game called Starfield, I believe is what it's called. Is that right?
Yeah,
Caleb?
might have heard of it.
Small game that people might be waiting for. No,
Yeah.
they had come out. They had a little video talking about the release date of Starfield. The release date they have come up with is September 6th of this year, which awesome.
Yeah.
They also announced that they are going to do a developer direct for Starfield on around the same day, I believe, as they're going to do their non E3 event. So
Yeah.
So they did come out and clarify that it will be after the Xbox event, basically, is when they'll do the Starfield, and to really dig in deep and give more information on that. So the Starfield Direct the stream will be June 11th, 2023. So exciting. I mean, I don't mind this game being delayed. I am interested in it. I'm not like huge, like this better be like everything I want. I mean, I have Game Pass. I'm going to try it out. See Todd Howard's new game.
I'm totally happy for this to be delayed. Like, just do it right, Bethesda. Do it right. Don't screw this up. Don't 76. Fallout 76 us. This is take your time to finish the game. If there's anything that you can learn from major AAA game releases over the past couple of years, take the time, finish the game. We're all happy to wait. We've been waiting this long already. Like, honestly.
Yeah. I mean,
this is the first new IP from Bethesda since.
So, main Bethesda, it was Todd Howard Bethesda. So, Fallout 76 was not Todd Howard. It wasn't. He helped, but he wasn't over 76.
Right.
It was Fallout 4.
But like Bethesda as a developer.
Yep.
This is their first new franchise.
Oh, yeah.
Since flipping, I'm pretty sure since they bought Fallout. From Obsidian. I don't think they've done anything else. Like, they've been running the Elder Scrolls in, forever. And Skyrim in particular.
Yep. Yeah.
It's a really old game, you think about it.
Yes, it is.
So, take your time, Bethesda. Do it right. We're all happy to wait. If it's actually going to be done by September, then we would love to play it in September. But if it's not going to be done by September, don't Cyberpunk 2077 this game. actually finish it, please. Thank you.
Yep. I don't know. I think this time it seemed like everyone was a little more happier, and it doesn't seem like they're rushed because everyone was like, "You have a deadline of June," but they said September, which sweet.
Yeah, no, that's fine.
I know. There's a lot of people that are trying to get on this hate train of, well, they delayed it again and all. But you know what, guys? You need to really think about. Okay, this is me. What else is releasing in June? Diablo. Oh gosh, now I just lost it. There was a bunch of other games that are coming out in June around that time period.
Is the new Breath of the Wild coming out?
I think around that. Was it around that time?
I can't.
But there's
remember.
a lot of big ones within like 30 days.
Yeah,
there's like a bunch of these big hitters, and so it's like this is. Fun.
I feel like there's a subset of people, and I think I understand these gamers. I absolutely do. So, listener, if this is describing you, then I get it. I promise. Who like they have the money for 1 or 2 new like main releases a year, and they're sitting here going, "Frickin', I want to be on the forefront of Starfield. Like that is,
yeah.
I really want to play this game. It's going to be an expensive game. It's going to be a first run like thing. I have to save my money for it. But what the heck am I supposed to be playing in the meantime? I finished the last game I bought, you know? So like, I understand that feeling. And let me just, okay, here's what you do. itch.io. Like, go there, find free indie games that unknown, absolutely unheard of developers have made. They're passion projects. Most of them are super short. A lot of them are absolutely terrible, but some of them are really good too. You know, go play some of those, you know, kill some time with stuff like that. You definitely have not done everything in Red Dead Redemption 2. Go do that. Go actually finish Red Dead Redemption 2. Like 100% the thing, you know? Did you actually finish the campaign in Elden Ring when you bought it last year? I don't think you did. You probably did not. Go finish Elden Ring, you know? It's like, I understand the frustration, but we are so much better off when games come out finished, like Elden Ring did, than we are when games come out unfinished, like Cyberpunk 2077 did. And the gamer that I'm talking to, you probably bought both of those day one, and just think of which one you liked better. You know, you're probably still thinking about Elden Ring. You probably can't get over how much you hated Cyberpunk 2077 right at the beginning. So like, you know, let's just be patient. It's okay. If you really need help, I have a couple of you know, pirated games I can send you. I got like Descent.
No,
you know what?
I mean,
go download Descent and finish that. I'll bet you can't do it.
And maybe I would suggest maybe PlayStation Plus or Xbox Game Pass. I would suggest that.
It's true.
That's a bajillion other games.
That's true. Yeah, because you know,
because with the price of Starfield, you get, I think it's, let's see, it's $120 a year for Game Pass Ultimate. This is Ultimate.
Yes.
But
yeah, no.
If that's like 2 games now.
If you're on PC too, the PC Game Pass is cheaper. In fact,
it is
Game Pass Ultimate, and so you know that gets you even further. And so if you really are only buying 1 or 2 major releases a year, these are it's something to consider. Maybe you should just subscribe to something like Games Pass and just play those games. Or if you're on PlayStation, look at PlayStation Plus. Like maybe subscribing to that is, I mean, if most of what you're playing are the first party PlayStation games anyways, then yeah, that's gonna get you what you want and a lot more.
Yeah.
But it's worth noting that if you were subscribed to either of those and that was where all of your gaming funds for new games were going for the year, then you would not have played Elden Ring, which kind of indisputably was the universal game of the year winner for last year. So
yeah,
you know,
it's a good game.
So there's definitely something to be said for that. So like I said, lit gamers out there, I understand you. I understand what you're feeling right now, but just be patient. Let them have the time to finish the game properly.
Yeah, I agree. I do agree with that. So, Starfield, good news. Good game coming out. Wanted to add a little bit here, talk about Game Pass, games that are coming to Game Pass in March. Some have already come, some will be coming. The ones I did want to mention was actually 2 of them. One of them is for both cloud, console, and PC is Sid Meier's Civilization 6.
Oh.
That's coming on those. That'll be coming on March 16th. So that's a good one.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a big time waster right there. It's a good one.
Gonna say, if you really want to kill time until Starfield comes out, start a game of Civ 6. You might finish it by then.
Yeah.
Like just one campaign.
Right. And then a lot of people, I have not played this yet, but I actually might download this. I've heard a lot of people like this one. This is called Valheim. Quick description of it is basically Viking Minecraft, is what I was told. But a lot of people have really, really enjoyed this one. It was on Game Pass for PC. It's been on other services, but now it's actually coming to the console. There's going to be a console port of it, so that's another big one there too. So if you're interested, that one's on March 14th. That'll be coming out. So you got some pretty decent games that good time wasters for you if you are waiting for Starfield, and there's all sorts of games coming out, and people are shadow dropping, and all these indie games that are happening. I mean, honestly, it's a pretty cool time to be a gamer. You can find something to keep you occupied.
Just so long as you can get over the fact that a lot of the major developers haven't really done a whole lot recently because of acquisition
and
stuff,
bickering and things. But we're not here to talk about that. Okay, my next piece of gaming news. I thought this was interesting. I was kind of curious to mention this and see what Caleb, what his thoughts are on this. Epic Game Store, they announced a self-publishing tool and upcoming support for subscription services. I would your face. There's this face that Caleb is given. That's so they're pushing this new self-publishing tool for games and game developers and publishing that are interested in releasing their game on Epic Game Store. Is kind of what they're doing. So
yeah,
they're still trying to compete with Steam. The big thing that they are trying to attract developers as a company is just that the company will only take 12% of the cut on game sales compared to Valve's 30%, but with asterisks, which decreases once obviously sales reach a certain milestone.
Yeah.
But they do say that Epic Game Store allows developers to use any payment solution and receive a bigger share of the revenue coming in from in-app purchases. So a couple other things. So on there, cool. They do say that they will add support for the subscription services from third-party publishers and live service products in 2023. So which means like if you have Ubisoft Plus or EA Play, they can become available on Epic Game Store. So their launcher, I believe. So cool.
Yeah, here's the thing about the Epic Game Store. I don't like it. And I'll tell you why, listener. It's not just because I think that Tim Sweeney is he is how his name sounds, It's, I think, the best way that I can describe him. The Epic Game Store is transparently an attempt to pull off in the digital games marketplace what Walmart did with physical retail through the course of the 90s, where Walmart became like the reason there's a Walmart in every town that listener, is because of this. Basically, through the entire course of the 90s, Walmart did this thing where they would move into physical retail space in any town that they possibly could, slash their prices so that they were making absolutely no profit at all. But the prices were super low to the consumers so that customers would come to them. And it was impossible for any other business to compete with them because they didn't have the backing of a national chain to support them in being price competitive with Walmart. And so they would drive everybody else in the region out of business and then slowly raise their prices over a few years back to the point where they were profitable. And now they had a monopoly on the regional retail sales, And so they could raise their prices beyond what they were originally. And since there was no competition, they could do that. And nobody could, you couldn't just not buy things like food. So, so it's like, so that's what Walmart did. And it was extremely scummy. And the rise of online retail has obviously brought a lot of competition to Walmart that they did not have before. And that's helped to solve a lot of these problems in the years since. That's exactly what Tim Sweeney wanted to do with the Epic Game Store, because that game, that shop has not turned a profit ever. It's never been a profitable business for Epic Games. So the Epic Game Store was there. The intent was to come in, and by taking less revenue, they were hopefully going to be able to charge lower prices and attract developers at the same time, because the developer would be able to get slightly more for putting their game in the Epic Game Store. The consumer would be able to pay slightly less. And yes, Epic was running the whole thing at a loss, but the hope was that they would be able to get all these games on, and all of these customers, everybody would come in, they would drive Steam out of business, they'd become the de facto, game store for everything. And then 100% guaranteed, once that happened, Tim Sweeney would turn around, start taking a 30% cut off of all the developers or more, and jack up the prices for the consumers so that they could get back all that profit that they had sunk into this thing. Fortunately, that's not what has happened. And in general, I would much prefer to support Steam and Valve and Gabe Newell than Tim Sweeney, simply because you look at the culture of Valve and what they have built there. That is awesome and is worth supporting. Epic Game Store and Tim Sweeney, like I said, he is how his name sounds. It's not, I don't want to support that dude. So, yeah, that's my take on the Epic Game Store. It's like, okay, release your self-publishing tools. I'm not going to be upset with people for patronizing the Epic Game Store. I myself go take their free games whenever I get the chance, because that costs them money and does not cost me any money. So I think it's kind of funny. But yeah, that's, I don't know. I don't like them.
Fair enough. I figured this would trigger you a little bit when I mentioned it.
Yeah.
So, but there you go, dear listener. If you have a game you want to publish on the Epic Game Store, you can. A little easier.
And listener, if you have a game that you would like to self-publish and you would like us to play it and maybe review it on the channel, absolutely happy to do that. Drop us a line at, email, social media channels, whatever. Get in touch with us. Let us know the title of the game. And you should, in fact, go publish it on something like itch.io in addition to putting it on the Epic Game Store if you can, because there you can charge, or you can basically set it up so that itch.io takes 1% of your profits as opposed to 12.
There you go.
So I'll pay for it there.
Yeah.
You'll get more money. You can charge the same price as it would be on the Epic Game Store, but you'll get 10% more funds out of it, listener. So, just something to think about.
That's actually really good. And that's actually all my gaming news and news that I have. So, well, I think that's everything, unless Landon has one more thing.
Oh yeah.
In luck.
Now, speaking of triggering Caleb,
Okay.
but this is for the better. And listener, I specifically did not tell Caleb about this before we started recording because I wanted his live reaction.
It's like he said something was coming, though, so I've been sitting here the whole time like, what the heck is this?
Yes. Excellent. Okay.
Slide my keyboard out of the way here. Okay.
Yeah.
You're sitting down. You don't have a drink in your hand. Okay.
Nope.
We're good.
Set that down.
All right. Listener, I don't know if you've heard of this developer, but I guarantee you've heard of some games that this developer has made. The developer is called Snowman, and they are the developers behind Alto's Adventure and Alto's Odyssey. And they have released a teaser trailer for a new game that looks to be the same style as Alto's Adventure and Alto's Odyssey, called Laya's Horizon. Now, Caleb is laughing for some strange reason.
Wait.
He's
I'm
interested.
so is this a Star Wars game?
No, it's
Okay.
It's Laya. So
Okay.
it's not Princess Leia.
All
But
right.
the teaser trailer shows like a lot of the same things you'll find in either Alto's Adventure or Alto's Odyssey. Like it's the same artistic style. It's got a lot of the same sounds, but then it closes off with, it shows the person with their arm, like they put their arms up and they're in like a wingsuit. And then it closes the trailer with the phrase, "A whole new world is just beyond the horizon." So it's hinting at the idea of basically an Alto's game, but instead of snowboarding, you're flying.
Okay.
Now, I have to preface, or I guess not I have to mention that this is coming to Netflix games.
Oh, what?
So,
What?
keep that in mind. And yeah, there's also not a date yet for this, but there is a trailer on YouTube. You can go search for Leia's Horizon teaser trailer, and you can watch it. But watching the trailer, it's got me very excited. So
I'm slightly baffled by Snowman as a developer. Like, Alto's Adventure, quite it was a hit, right? It's an
Yes.
indie darling,
Yeah.
Endless Runner, one of the best out there, one of the few premium Endless Runners that people actually paid money for. Alto's Odyssey is a great follow-up to that, basically the same gameplay, but they added on a lot of really interesting things, and it's super fun and super satisfying to play. And now we're to a point with Snowman, though, apparently, where basically anybody who's trying to build up a platform of games from a subscription can go to them with a pile of money, and they'll make a game for them, because that's how we got Alto's Odyssey on Apple Arcade.
yeah.
Yeah, it's what's that one called? The Lost City or something like that. I can't remember.
I mean, it's basically Alto's Odyssey, isn't it?
It is. It's Alto's Odyssey, but they've added some city stuff into it. Like there's like kind of a new biome, and now so it's conceptually a very similar style of game for Netflix, who I assume called them up and was all like, "Hey, you want to make one of them great endless runners for us too, please?"
Yeah.
With super atmospheric and awesome music and stuff like that.
This isn't their first Netflix game.
Is it not?
They've got one that's called Lucky Luna. Now, I haven't actually heard of this game or don't know what it is. But in reading about this new game, I did see that there is one called Lucky Luna from them on Netflix Games.
Interesting.
Now, I do kind of want to go look into that.
Maybe I should start paying attention to the Netflix games.
Maybe.
Huh. So that is interesting. I wonder if that was... Is this the kind of thing where they're just like, you know what, actually, making games for these big subscriptions actually just works better for us as a developer, because, they like don't want to have microtransactions, which I love and appreciate, but also it's kind of hard to make a bunch of money on just premium mobile games primarily. Like, yeah, you can play Alto's Odyssey on the computer, but nobody does. So I wonder if the subscription model just works better for them. And they're like, we don't want to try and do our own subscription model because that seems ridiculous. But, if we jump onto something like Apple Arcade or Netflix's games, then maybe that just makes more financial sense for them. That's really interesting. I'm going to have to look into this. I guess oh, crap. I don't actually pay for Netflix, and apparently I'm not going to be able to share a Netflix subscription with people here in the near future, so that might put a damper on me being able to play this.
Yeah.
Possible. Yeah, like I said, they don't have a release date yet for it. But go look at the trailer. If you like Alto's Odyssey and Alto's Adventure, I'm sure you're going to like this game. Because it looks, like I said, it gives off the very same vibes as those games do. And that makes me happy.
It's a good
those
vibe.
are cool.
They're super satisfying games to play.
Yeah.
I agree.
So, but that's all of my gaming news for this week.
That was pretty good. I was not expecting that as well.
I've got to say, Laya's Horizon, I'm like, wait, they're making an Endless Runner Star Wars game?
I mean, I
so
would not
confused.
be opposed to that by any means.
Yeah.
Yeah,
but-
I mean, yeah.
But no, this is not that.
That would actually, it would kind of be amazing. So it would just be like the consular ship that Leia's in at the beginning of episode 4. And you're just constantly like in orbit over a planet, like running away from a Star Destroyer that like, you slow down a little bit, you don't get your tricks quite right or whatever, and it comes into frame and starts shooting at you. And then you have to build your speed back up to try and get back over the horizon away from them and stuff. And it just goes on like that forever.
I
You
don't
need to
hate
call
that
Netflix
idea.
right now.
There you go, Snowman. I just made a game for you.
I also wouldn't hate an Endless Runner Star Wars game like Temple Run.
Ooh.
Although there
yes.
might be one of those. Who knows?
There might be. Honestly, Temple Run, like, the heck happened to that?
Everyone copied them.
They did. Nobody ever did it quite as well as Temple Run.
No, that's very true.
Like, Temple Run 2 was an outstanding game. I think I ended up deleting it because it got a little bit too microtransaction-y for me, but fun game.
Yeah.
Good stuff. All right. Well, listener, I think that's the end of our episode. I appreciate you listening. And if you want to get a hold of us, you can at our social media platforms as well as at callingallplatforms.com. If you want to support Caleb or the new habit of paying for Netflix for Caleb, you can through our Patreon. But if you want us to go ahead and support Landon, let's be real, he's the big hero of the podcast.
Yeah.
You can do that as well. We'll try and force Caleb in there to play with a Windows phone or play with a controller on games.
right.
I've got
That's
an
the
idea
last
for
I
a
heard.
new thing for Patreon. If we get to a certain amount of subscribers, Caleb has to play only Epic games for a month.
Wow.
That's
Okay.
that's got to be a lot.
But it's going to
That
be a
being
pretty
said-
high margin for that.
I have a reasonably high number of their free games that I've gathered up over the years. Just
True.
by going and like my Epic Games library has like probably 15 to 20 games in it. And actually one of them is Alto's Odyssey.
Well,
So
no,
I just play Alto's Odyssey for a month. I'm not
There you
opposed to that.
Or maybe we'll have to force him to give Tim Sweeney money. How's that?
No.
Buy a game
No.
on the Epic Games
Look,
Store.
I buy games that are developed with Unreal Engine. Like, he gets
Yeah,
money
that's
from
true.
me. They
Yeah.
don't need more.
Fair enough. All right. If you want to also, you can check out our social or our YouTube channel, Calling All Platforms on there. All right, dear listener, have a good week.
Bye-bye.
see ya.
Calling All Platforms is a production of Supporter Sound Studios. To learn more about how you can support the podcast, go to www.patreon.com/callingallplatforms.